Hey everybody, Brenton O'Callaghan here from Avantra, and welcome to this Mastering Avantra session. Today I'm going to take you through how to create custom attributes within your Avantra system. It's really common requests that we see coming in from our customers to be able to create business-specific custom attributes on a number of objects throughout the Avantra system. There's two major ways to do it, and I'm going to take you through that now. So let me switch to my desktop, and you can see it here. Here I'm in a very standard 20.5.6 Avantra system, but what I'm about to show you rings true for systems since version 7.3 and onwards. The process hasn't changed. So the various objects where you can create custom attributes are as follows. First of all, you can add custom attributes to your customers. So this is where you've defined a specific customer if you're using multi-tenancy, or the one customer you've defined if you're not. So here we have a number of standard attributes, everything from addresses through to descriptions and notes. But you can add your own custom attributes here. So that's where we're going to start. The other objects where you can create custom attributes are these. So it's within your systems. So it's your servers, your SAP systems, your SAP instances, your databases, your business objects, servers, and your cloud services. You can create custom attributes in all of these, and I'll show you that second. So let's get started with customers. So the scenario I'm going to take you through is the addition of 2 extra fields to the customer master data. The first one I'm going to take is from a standard MSP implementation. It's, hey, can I mark who's the account owner for this customer within the system? So we'll create a custom field for account owner. And the second one then is a very easy free text field of any additional notes about this customer that we might want to link back to contractual obligations or something along these lines. So it's a free text field where you can enter in some extra data. So the creation of customer extra attributes in the system is probably the easiest thing, or one of the easiest things you can do within Avantra once you know where it is. So we'll start off by going to administration and we'll go to settings. Now I'm an administrator on this machine, so I have full access in here, and you're going to want to be defined as an administrator to be able to do what I'm showing you here. So the next thing we're going to do is go to the Avantra UI tab, because we're talking about extra fields in the UI. And I'm going to filter here with the phrase custom. Now we get shown a number of fields here. As you can see, some of them look quite similar. By default within Avantra, we give you the ability to create up to 5 custom attribute fields within your customer object. So quite simply, to add I said it was easy, to add custom attributes for our customer, we literally edit this value here. And I'm going to say this one is account owner. And then the second one, I'm going to say special contract terms, like this. And once I'm done, I can hit save. Now you'll notice down here there's also the length one, and this is where we can define shorter or longer lengths for our custom attributes. So for example, if you were doing a system identifier, a customer identifier, or something where you know the fixed length, you might want to limit it to 8 characters, 10 characters, or whatever the case may be. By default, we set them to 128 characters. This is pretty standard, and that's all I'm going to need here. But if I did need to adjust it, I can do that here. Okay, so I've hit save, I'm done. I close my settings tab. And if I refresh the customer I had open here, which is the customer Avantra, and scroll down, you can now see we have 2 extra fields at the bottom for account owner and special contract terms. So account owner 1, nothing special here. Okay, so once I'm done there, I hit apply. I can close this customer, and when I reopen it, that information is now saved into the Avantra database. So that's step 1. So we've now added 2 custom fields to our customer objects within our Avantra master system. And this is a very, very common use case that you'll find across the business. Okay, so we're done with customers. Now let's talk about servers, SAP systems, instances, databases, SAP business objects, and more. And I can tell you right now, they all use the same mechanism to be able to define custom attributes. So let's go ahead and get started. The first place I would expect you or suggest that you go here is to the Avantra support website, which I have open here. I'll just reload it here, but it's support.avantra.com. If you're missing a login for this website, please email us at the very easy email address of support@avantra.com, and we'll be only happy to get you access to this area. So this is our knowledge base. This is where you'll find specific scenario-based examples and suggestions and help around how to achieve things. So the first thing I'm going to do here is simply search for the phrase custom. And it's the first knowledge base article that comes up here, which is custom attributes examples. Now, I haven't brought you here so I can read through this and take you through it step by step. There's a reason I suggest you coming here, which is the definition of custom attributes within your Avantra system for system objects, server objects, SAP system objects is done via a definition file. So this is where you take an external file, which in this case, as you can see here, it's an XML file. We write up what custom attributes you want to add in, and we upload them into Avantra, and they'll appear in the UI. At the bottom of this, we provide two files. The first one is the XSD, which is the XML service document, which defines the various attributes and the setup you must conform to when defining your custom attributes. And the second one we provided is an example file, which to me is the most useful one here. So I'm going to click on this one and it's downloading. So let's go ahead and have a look at this now. And so this is the custom attributes definition file. A little difficult to read if you look at it first because it is quite long, but actually it's a lot simpler than what it looks. And up at the top here, everything you see in green on my screen here is actually a comment, which I suggest you remove before you upload it back to your Avantra system. There is a size restriction on the custom attributes upload file, so therefore I do recommend that before you upload it to your Avantra system, you delete our instructional texts, just so that you don't hit that size limit. So the maximum file upload size is 4,096 bytes, which you probably would never even come close to in a normal scenario, but once you include massive amounts of text like this, of course, it's going to increase the file size. So what we're doing here in the description here, in the sample text file, is we're showing you all of the different elements you can use, so attributes that are available, ID, data type, length, mandatory, etc., etc. But I'm going to bring us straight down to the worked example that we've included here. So, and I'm going to delete all of this because I don't need this right now. So here I have a very simple example which I've included. So the first one here is custom attribute definition, and I've given it a technical ID. Now this technical ID is quite important. It uniquely identifies this field within the Avantra database. So it must be unique. And what I always recommend here is don't just go with, hey, if you're adding in this case, the sample here is adding a field that says what country the server is in. It would be easy to just call this country, but for the sake of hygiene within the system, I always recommend that customers put a prefix in front of the ID of the field that they're adding. So for example, I'm from Avantra, so I'm going to put the prefix AV, which uniquely identifies any custom attributes that I have created for my company. So in this case, I'm calling my custom ID AV_country. Now this ID becomes very important if you're doing things like using our SOAP API, or if you're using the command line interface, because you need to be able to pull this information, maybe filter by it or whatever the case may be. So knowing this ID for the future is actually quite useful. So I've selected the data type text. I can also go for a number, or I can go for an enum. So this is what here. And remember, all of this is defined. If I go back, all of this is defined. So the available data types are text or enum. All of this is defined in the XSD document, so that data definition document, which is also included in that knowledge base article we saw earlier. So here I have a custom attribute with the ID of CA_country. The data type is a text, and it has the length of 50 characters. I'm applying this custom attribute to more than one type of system. And again, this is quite a frequent ask, which is why we've included it this way. So I've said I can do it on a server, an SAP system, an SAP instance, and a database. Cool. So I'm going to add the field CA_country with the name, the attribute name of country. Now, when I say attribute name, I mean what is actually displayed to the end user within the Avantra UI. So literally, we just say country, and then we can give it a default value. In this case, the default value is Switzerland. Surprise, surprise. I'm also defining a second custom attribute, which you can choose to do or not to do. It's up to you. And this one is CA underscore classification. So what's the classification of the server in particular? So we only do the classification on the server level. We're giving the data type enum. So this is where we're selecting from a list of predefined values and we're making it mandatory. So we're saying the name is information classification. The default value is confidential. And then in the values tags, we have defined what the various values that can be selected by the user are. So you can see here, it's really easy to create these, copy, paste them, add new ones, etc., etc. So I do encourage you to have a play around with this and try it out, but I'm going to use the standard sample file exactly as I've just shown you here, and let's upload it to the system and see what happens. So I'm going to save this and close it, and let's go back to our Avantra system. Now I said you had to upload the file into the Avantra system. So where do we do this? Go back into administration and we go back into settings. Again, you're going to need admin privileges to be in here. And then there's a tab called custom attributes. Now, as you can see today, it says no custom attributes have been defined in this system. This is a brand new system I installed a few days ago. So I'm going to hit the button saying upload custom attributes definition. And I had this in my downloads folder and I select it here. I hit open. The custom attributes definition has been updated. Boom. So here we can see listed in here that there are two custom attributes been defined. So CA underscore country with the UI name country applied to servers, SAP systems, SAP instances, and databases. The second one we have is CA underscore classification, which is an enum with the UI label of information classification, and that's been applied to servers. It has these various options as a drop-down. So public, internal, confidential, and secret. Okay, that's it. We've defined our custom attributes. Let's go see it in the UI. So if I go into systems and into servers, we see we have one server configured, which is the server this Avantra server is running on. So if I go into it, you'll see here, I have country and information classification available to me as fields I can now update. I also have, if I go into SAP Systems, although I don't have an SAP system defined in here, let's quickly define one. So let's say I have on-prem NetWeaver Gateway and NWG. Let's say, for example, system role test, and we'll say it's an ABAP system. Hit next. Must be uppercase. Oh, of course. So on-prem NetWeaver Gateway. Let's say. Next. RFC user test 001, test, and test. Very secure system. We hit OK. Okay, now we're in. Now, a couple of things to point out here. Only one of our custom attributes has been shown here, because you remember our information classification has only been defined on the server level. So of course, we're not seeing that in the SAP system level. What we are seeing is the country field, which we defined for servers, SAP systems, databases, and much more. On top of this, if you remember, in the file, and if we go back to settings, custom attributes, it doesn't actually show it here, it shows it in the main file. 1 second, let me reopen this. Coming now, oh, different screen. So bring this over. So just to remind you, we had CA country. We said there's a default value here of Switzerland. So when we've created this SAP system, it has defaulted the value of Switzerland into the system. What's really interesting is if we go back into the servers, that default value was not applied retrospectively to existing objects. And this is a very important point. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. When you upload a custom attributes file after an object has been created, of course we don't go back and automatically update that object for you. You have to choose to do that yourself. So that is the creation of custom attributes within an Avantra system. So first of all, we started off with the creation of a custom attribute for the customer. Then we went and we created a custom attribute for various system objects within the system using those XML definition files, which we got samples of from the support.avantra.com website. Hope you enjoyed this and it was useful. Thanks very much for watching.